Welcome everybody to the Teaching of Pronunciation Interest Group webinar of today. I'm Marcia Chan, also known as the Pronunciation Doctor. I'm the co-founder and a co-coordinator of CATESOL Top-IG, which is Teaching of Pronunciation Interest Group. And today I'm happy to welcome you to our session. This is our first of two webinars on embodied pronunciation. This one is called Harnessing Your Inner Power. You know, when most people, non-linguists, non-pronunciation specialists, think about correcting or altering somebody's pronunciation in a foreign or second language, what part of the body is the focus? What do they say needs to be fixed? Right, it is the mouth. Right, so that's the main thing. That's the main thing that people think about when thinking, well, you need to change your accent. So as teachers of pronunciation, it's really important for us to be aware of and understand the organs of speech, basic articulatory phonetics. This is important because it helps us as a teacher to explain things to our students. Not that we need to use all of the terminology, depending on whether we're working with beginners or advanced students, but at least we understand what's going on. You've seen a face like this, which is sidewards, cut in half, right? And you know what's up here is the lips, and here the jaw, and here the tongue, and inside here the nasal cavity, the palate, and the whole thing here is the oral cavity, the cavity of the mouth. Back inside is the pharynx, the epiglottis, the larynx opening into the pharynx, the larynx, and the esophagus. Okay, that's a lot of different parts, but we have to use the muscles in all the different parts to make sounds. All right, let's think about how, when we move all those parts, we make our voice projection, we utter words and sounds, we speak. Yeah. Now, let's do a little bit of testing of how our speech organs are going to do when we do these tongue twisters. So if you'd like to do this with me, let's say each one 5 times as quickly as you can. She sells seashells by the seashore. 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 Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. Kathy threw 3 free throws. 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 Now, if you'd like to reveal how you did, you can type in the chat how many times you said each tongue twister perfectly, according to yourself, the number out of 5. You see, we've got A, B, and C, so you don't have to write the actual tongue twister, but you can use the letter to designate how many times you think you said it perfectly. Okay, now we're looking at what's coming through the chat, and not everyone feels comfortable with the same tongue twister. So some of them seem to be a little bit more difficult for some people than others. That's okay. That's normal. Depends what you're used to doing or what your mouth is used to doing in terms of moving, and how much practice you've had. All of those things probably. Let's talk about pronunciation as a part of speaking. So pronunciation is a significant component of speaking, and it's one of the speech actions that requires both cognitive control and automatization of physical skills of more parts of the body than just the mouth. So we've been talking about the parts of the body right up here, which are quite obvious. But there's a lot beneath the surface. Let's take a look at speech production. You may have seen a chart like this before that shows the insides. That's what we look like on the inside. Let's get undressed. Take the skin off and we'll see a few more parts of our body. Well, let's talk about the steps. What happens? First of all, we have the brain. We have a thought, and the thought triggers some steps in order to get speech out of our body. After we think about a thought, we use our diaphragm, which is down here, and this muscle helps inflate and deflate the lungs. And the lungs pump air up into the mouth through the vocal cords. So the vocal cords vibrate the air from the lungs. And then as it goes up, our nose, our mouth, our lips, and our tongue modify the vibrating air to form different sounds. And those sounds exit the mouth in some form as an utterance. Sounds, words, phrases, sentences, paragraphs, and stories. Yeah? All right, so this is what happens. It starts from our diaphragm. And for this reason, we're going to look at these internal organs, and we might think of them as motor parts inside a machine. So how about now what we'll do is harness the power from inside our bodies with a pronunciation workout to get our motors running, to prepare for pronunciation, articulation, awareness, and speech clarity. We'll do the pronunciation workout. Why? Because speaking a foreign language requires different movements of the vocal apparatus. The cheeks, the jaw, the lips, the tongue, the teeth, the glottis, the lungs, and gaining control and flexibility of one's physical speaking apparatus facilitates change in accent and voice quality. It enhances overall oral production. The purposes of the workout are to relax the body and relieve tension related to oral production. Do your students ever feel kind of tense and nervous when they come into the classroom because it's hard to speak up in another language? Even native speakers feel shy about that, but foreign language speakers may feel even more so. So relax. And to control breathing, because that's the basis for how sound goes through your body and comes out. To enhance muscle extension and flexibility, to prepare your vocal apparatus for clarity, comfort, and strength in speaking. So now I'd like to invite you to please stand up, empty your hands of your coffee cups or your pens and pencils, push your chair away, and allow about 2 feet around you. With your video on, please tilt your camera upward in order to capture more of your body, including your head and at least your upper body. All right, everybody get ready. There will be more for you to look at later on in my article called Teaching Tip Pronunciation Workout. Okay, so now we're going to begin our pronunciation workout. Push the chair out of the picture here and have a couple of feet around us so we're nice and loose. Okay, let's see if we can just sort of put your feet apart so that you can sort of bounce around a little bit and wiggle out your wiggles. Wiggle out your wiggles and move your hands. Maybe you have stress in your shoulders and your neck. You can kind of roll them around a little bit. All right, let's look at the part that is most important for us right now, and that is what is under our lungs, diaphragm. So if I look at myself here, I can feel the diaphragmatic muscle below. Can you feel that below your ribs? Not too far, but not down there, but just around here. Okay, so I want you to feel how you're going to expand this in order to breathe deeply. Okay, take a big breath, inhale, and exhale. Try to keep your shoulders nice and relaxed, not like this, but down. Okay, inhale. And exhale. This time try to keep the air in a little bit longer. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now we're going to do some laughing. We're going to go ha, ha, ha. Use it, try to do that from your diaphragm. Not just here, ha, 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 but from here. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. When you do, this is a belly laugh, right? Ha, 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 ha. All right, feel the sensation of your diaphragm moving the air up through, all the way through here, okay? All right, good, all right. Now take a seat. You can sit back down again and change the angle of your computer a little bit so that you are now centered in your video and you can see each other. What we want to do now is, let's see, I think I've just lost myself here in my Zoom. Let's find that again. There I am. Okay, so let's do a deep stretch of the jaw and the mouth. We'll go, ah, ah. Really stretch it. Ah, ah. And feel like you're thinking lovely thoughts. Ah, 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 wider, ah, wider, ah, ah. Now move your lips and your mouth from left to right without moving your nose and your jaw still forward. Go side to side. Side to side, side to side. Hold your lips and your teeth from side to side and side to side, around and around, around and around, around and around, around, around. Good. Now, take a big breath. Stay relaxed. Big breath. Now let's do the lips. Ooh, stretch forward. E, stretch out. Ooh wee, 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 ooh wee. Okay, big breath. And relax. Big breath. And exhale. Stretch your tongue. Stick it out as far as you can. And in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. And in. A little faster. Now this time, try to do it where your tongue, let's say this is my tongue, these are my teeth, your tongue hits the teeth on the way out. So the tip of the tongue hits the teeth on the way out and then comes back in. Faster. Even faster. Can you do a trill, as in a trilled R in Spanish? If you can, try this. All right, now let's try to do a humming sound through your lips. Where lips like an M sound, but big breath first. All right, now this time, when you do that, try to keep your lips loose, touching yet loose. And I want you to try to feel the vibration coming all the way from your lungs, through your vocal cords, through your whole head, your whole big old skull, into your lips. Feel that sensation. Try to make your lips tingle or tickle as you're doing that. So take a really deep breath. Okay, I'm going to give you something to do that I'm going to show you on a video, because it's something that I am usually able to do, except for now I have orthodontic braces. So it makes it difficult for me to do this. So I'm going to show you when I used to be able to do it here. Okay, so let's give it a try. It is a lip trill, so this is where you can vibrate your lips. Think delicious thoughts. And feel the vibration. All right, that was pretty easy, right? Oh yeah, it was. All right, now let's do something a little bit harder, but not too hard. And that is vibrating the lips against each other. We'll do a little more. We'll take your lips and your fingers and kind of stretch them out and say, okay, now. Let's like clay, okay? Just clay. And then, if you need, you can put your fingers here and here to push your lips a little bit forward, okay? Let's try that. And then we're going to take a deep breath, vibrate the vocal cords, and blow out this air. So it sounds like this. Yeah. More. Yeah. That's it. More. Again. Here. Big breath. That wasn't hard, was it? Oh, was it? Okay, so don't do a dry version. If you do a dry version, that's doing without any vibration. So make sure you're vibrating here and sending that vibration all the way through to your lips. It's a lot easier that way than when you do it without vibrating your vocal cords. So let's do the easy way. Vibrate your vocal cords and let that vibration move all the way to your lips. All right, take a big breath. Really. Okay, take another big breath. Okay, well, that's the short version because I have a few other things I'd like to present to you. Did you have a chance to do any of the vibrating of the lips? Yes, okay. Some of you actually did that. That's great. All right, what happens if you say the tongue twisters again? Give it another try. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Toy boat, 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 toy boat. Kathy threw 3 free throws. Kathy threw 3 free throws. Kathy threw 3 free throws. Kathy threw 3 free throws.
3 free throws.
Okay. So I'm wondering if any of you felt any differences before and after doing the pronunciation workout exercises in terms of your agility, accuracy, fluency, facility, comfort, confidence. Anything that you'd like to share, you may put into the chat. Anything that is easier or not? Faster? Slower? Okay, so we're saying they're easier to say now, goes much faster, much easier. Had great success doing the tongue. Okay, thank you for sharing. And some of you have more trouble with one of the tongue twisters than the other. So the tongue twisters I have you do just as a sort of a pre and a post to get some feeling if you see any difference. So often what I do with my pronunciation and accent classes is to start out with a version of the workout, a lot of times to help them relax and sort of switch their brain and bodies into oral language focus from whatever they came from whether it was their work or their business or other classes or home, whatever things they might have been doing, to sort of get them into the mood, relax them, and get them the motor parts working for the facility and the flexibility. So those are the sorts of things that you might want to try with your students. And so we want to talk a little bit about what embodied pronunciation is or can be. So when I talk about it, I'm thinking about this as referring to the body movements that involves the physical sensations perceptible through visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and proprioceptive modalities that expresses, signifies, or enhances one or more aspects of oral language. By focusing your attention on the embodiment, pronunciation learning and teaching can be enhanced. I do have more about that, and I'll send you information if you haven't already seen an article that I wrote about embodied pronunciation. But since our workshop is short, I'm just going to select a few items. I think you all know about the importance of suprasegmentals, that is stress, rhythm, and intonation. These are essential parts of pronunciation. And we know that words are written, but stress, rhythm, and intonation are not written. And so those are the secret things, the silent things that are troublesome for a lot of our learners because we can't really see those, although as instructors, as teachers of pronunciation, we can help our students with. So intonation, of course, is that pattern or the melody of pitch changes in connected speech, and it provides the foundation for stress, rhythm, and sounds. English pronounced with incorrect stress, incorrect rhythm, incorrect intonation is often difficult to understand, especially if compounded with more than 1 or 2 differences, errors. The listener may have trouble understanding. So non-native speakers need to pay attention to suprasegmental aspects of pronunciation. Now, normally we don't see what speech looks like, right? Because as I'm speaking, do you see anything? No. So what we have to do is look at what a spectrogram shows. So here are some examples. If I say growing on the rim of a river, then it shows the bigger and smaller amplitude on the spectrogram. If I can make a small mark, if I say it that way, you can see the amplitude changing as I have more pressure from my lungs or not. His heart will be shaken out of his body. So those are the marks that you can see on a spectrogram, and it's useful to show students that who might otherwise not be able to appreciate and actually interpret how sound coming out, the pulmonary pressure, how it makes a difference in the speech. Now, sounds right upon the waves of intonation. So intonation and rhythm constitute the waves, that foundation, and the sounds are on sort of on top of this intonation pattern. So if you look at a comparison of a non-native speaker and a native speaker of English saying something like the same sentence, then you can see that there's a difference in the amplitude of the spectrogram. And in the first example, which was a student of mine, it's kind of more monotonous, not so many peaks and valleys compared to native speaker version where there's a lot more peaks and valleys because that shows the stress part, mostly the stress parts. Here's what we're seeing. Now, one of the things that's important for some students because their languages are different is that there are differences in what a syllable is and how it feels. And we can feel the rhythm by clapping. So everybody can use our two hands and we can just clap the rhythm using syllables as a beat. So we can say action, action, reaction, reaction, activity, activity, react, react, interact, interact, interaction, interaction. So this is another way for us to help clarify as we do it, we're doing it outwards, but also to have students do it so that they can feel the interaction of their hands and their mouth. They can make them happen at the same time. In fact, you as a teacher, if you practice, you also can use your hands to clap as you speak. That means you have to practice a little bit, but if you do so, it is like a drum, right? So you can show how the rhythm is not all the same. So if you have some students who are speaking a lot like this, you can point it out this way. And you can tell them that in English, we typically don't speak in that way, but we have longer and bigger beats here and there. So using your hands to clap is a way to emphasize that 1, syllables, and 2, the stress, and then 3, the rhythm of what you are saying. And if you have some prepared words, phrases, or sentences for students, you can have them practice doing the clapping as well in order to feel the beat and feel the rhythm. Another way you can do it silently is to use open hand, closed hand. Open hand on the stressed syllables, syllables that are strong, clear, high, long, and then a closed hand on the unstressed syllable, which is weak, reduced, short, and low. So these same words we could show in this way: action, action, reaction. Try it. Reaction. Show me your hands. Activity, activity. React, react. Interact, interact. Interaction, interaction. So you can do this in 2 ways. One is as you are speaking, you can use your hands to show visually what you can't see as you're speaking, to alert the students to where the stresses are in a phrase or a sentence. So that's where you use it as a teacher. And you can ask students to follow you in, of course, shorter amounts of speech and probably in prepared speech so that they can practice doing it, such as using a list of words or phrases or sentences, and have them practice as you do this together in a classroom situation. So that way they're getting their sense of, okay, this is big, this is small, this is long, this is short, this is strong, this is weak. So those kinds of feelings, those sensations, when they are doing it with their body, can enhance their ability to understand how it works together with the pronunciation of these words or phrases. Okay, so now we're going to get into something where I'm going to have you do some more movement. We're going to do the stress, stretch. We can do stretch in order to gain awareness of the stress syllables in spoken English, to associate the stress with vowel length, vowel clarity, and pitch, and to internalize these suprasegmental features into body memory, to activate and link or connect the kinesthetic, the tactile, the visual, and the auditory learning modalities, and of course to pronounce multisyllabic words with proper stress and intonation. So how about now? Could you do this, please? Push your chair away from your table or your desk. Not too far. You don't have to stand up this time. Not yet. Place both your feet flat on the ground, maybe 12 to 8 inches apart. And sit up straight. And I guess you will also not be holding your coffee cup. What we're going to do is we're going to stand up on a stressed syllable. We're going to stretch our bodies up on the stressed syllable. These are the syllables that are clear, long, and high. Then we're going to sit down on an unstressed syllable. These are the syllables that are weak, short, and low. So this will help with our understanding physically as well as mentally about stress, intonation, rhythm, and vowel length. Are you ready? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the stress stretch like this. I will do it twice. You can do it either twice or once, but I hope you will do it at all right? So here's where we're going to start. We're going to go like this. English. English. I'm not seeing all of you move because some of your cameras are not on, but if they are, I can see you. Instructor. Instructor. Curriculum. Curriculum. Language. Language. Common. Common. Community. Community. Important. Important. Positive. Positive. Okay, take a rest. How are you feeling so far? Are you feeling okay? Or some of you go like, oh my goodness, this is a PE class. So sometimes in my pronunciation class, I tell them, yes, this is PE for the mouth. This is PE for oral communication, because we gotta use our whole bodies in order to speak. Because most of us don't speak just like this stoically with our mouth moving but the rest of our body not moving. We usually speak together with our whole bodies, right? We use a lot of body movement, and there's a lot of movement of the body in time with the stress and the rhythm and intonation of what we're saying. So these are sorts of things for. Now, in my classes, I always invite them to do this. However, I always tell them, don't do anything that hurts. that makes you uncomfortable. If you want to try it, you can. Many times students are shy of anything that I teach them because they think I'm really goofy. I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, I do stupid things and then, make them do wackies. So I always say, you can try it when you're ready. And usually what happens is after some time, the shy people start doing it. Now, if anybody's pregnant or they're sick or they're in some way impeded physically, they're not required to do this, but they can see people doing it. And you know that watching people do it is almost as good as doing it yourself. Not quite, but visually seeing people do this makes a difference in their speech that you can really see and calculate. All right, so don't make anybody feel uncomfortable, but if they feel comfortable doing it, they'll start doing it and they'll see that's kind of fun and it makes a difference. I have students, especially those who are very fossilized. By this I mean they've been speaking English for a very, very long time. And they've been speaking English with a not so very good pronunciation pattern for a very, very long time. So it's like it's stuck. And you know how habits change? They don't change overnight. They don't change by just saying, oh, I'm going to quit. I'm going to start doing something else. It takes practice. And so I find that for those students who have been speaking in a particular way for a number of years, that it takes something powerful to push them out of where they were. Does that happen to you? I mean, do you have students like that? Okay, so I have, for example, I have somebody who's totally fluent. He's a brilliant scientist who I've worked with for over a number of years. He comes back to me every once in a while, and his English is perfect in writing. And he probably, I mean, is totally fluent, but he's not necessarily intelligible. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he has reached out to me again and said, my family's really great. We moved to such and such a country, and now I'm doing such and such a work, and my English is unbearable. And I was thinking, it's terrible. And I'm thinking, well, it's not terrible in writing, but I guess he's probably having problems having people understand him. He's the type of person that I do the stress stretch with because he's not aware of it. He is not, he's not conscious of what is coming out in terms of stress and intonation. So when we do the stress stretch, he has a hard time. He may say, what is that word? And I'll say, it's curriculum. And we'll do curriculum. And we slowly and then a little faster. We'll take some words that he's having trouble with and that he needs to use frequently, something that's in his own, his own vocabulary where he works. And we'll work on those words until he gets it. And sometimes I will just do the motions. And when he sees me doing this, he goes, oh, Marcia is trying to tell me something without words, right? I'm just doing, and he's going, got it, right? So those are sorts of things that lots of times, body movements, verbal communication can signal. So lots of times in teaching my students to do these motions, I can do some silent modifications or directions or corrections when people are speaking without having to interrupt them auditorily, right? I can just make some changes in their speech by using the gestures that we have practiced to get them into the knowledge of something was misstressed and I need to redo that again. All right, how about, are you ready to do the second column? Because I have more words for you to do. Let's see, how about these? All right, are you ready for these? Okay, feet apart, thighs in good condition, like good, yes, really good condition for my thighs. All right, ready, let's go. Number one is happy, happy, happiness, happiness. Library, library, librarian, librarian. Pronounces, pronounces. Pronunciation, pronunciation. Phonology, phonology. Phonological, phonological. Okay, good quad workout, right? I think what I'd like to do now is open up to you and your mics to see if you'd like to say something about any of the activities I've presented so far.
Hi, my name's Christina, and I also put this in the chat, but sometimes I struggle to hear where the stress is. I mean, English is, I grew up speaking English, but I struggle. So I was wondering if there's a good website that can sort of help you practice. I hear the syllables, of course, but not always hearing where the stress is.
Okay, that's a good point. So if you are, did you just say you grew up speaking English?
Yeah, from here.
Okay.
I grew up in Texas, but
Okay.
I don't know, you know, I'm not sure why that is, right? So my family, English is their second language. I'm not sure why, or just growing up in Texas where different, there's stresses on different vowels than you would hear if you lived in California. So, anyway, long story short, I'm not sure why it is that I'm not always hearing those stresses.
Okay, good. Well, this is a really good point. Just because one is a native speaker of a particular language does not mean that they hear everything and their perception is all 100%. It's not true. I mean, you speak to anybody in any language and you will find that they don't know a lot about their language in the first place, right? And a lot of times, if you are a learner of languages, you may find that the speaker who speaks the native language of the one you're trying to learn doesn't know half the things you know about the language. So that's okay. That's all right. So one of the things that you can do if you want to use your dictionary, do you know how to use the dictionary to find the stress? Well, you do. No, you don't. No. Okay.
I know how to listen.
Every dictionary will show pronunciation of phonemes, which are the sounds. For example, in the word happy, you'll see the h, the a, and the p and the e, right? Okay, so, and you said you already hear stress, so you know happy has 2 syllables. All right, different dictionaries show stress in different ways. So some dictionaries, American dictionaries, a lot of American dictionaries show stress by putting an accent mark after the first syllable. A lot of international dictionaries will put this accent mark, which is more of a downbeat above, before the syllable that's stressed. And some dictionaries will put like a bold on the first, on the stressed syllable. Chime in while I'm looking around here for something. Don't be shy. Everybody here is a pronunciation teacher, so I know you all can speak. So don't be shy about that.
Do you know about the Google pronunciation tool? If you go to Google and you type in any word, let's take curriculum, and you write curriculum pronunciation, it will come up with a little helpful guide, and the stressed syllable will be in bold, and it will have a little schematic of a person pronouncing the word, and it allows you to practice. So what's in bold is the stressed syllable. So that's a good one.
Curriculum, curriculum, curriculum.
Okay, thank you very much for that one. Okay, so those are a couple of resources for finding out which syllables are stressed.
I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Ingrid.
Hi, Masha. First of all, it's such a pleasure to meet you, and you're really a legend in pronunciation. So I appreciate today's teachings.
Thank you.
When a student has completely fossilized the rhythm of how they use English, and it affects their comprehensibility or the ability to be understood, would you use the stress stretches for rhythm as well?
Yes. Well, you have to evaluate whether your students are physically capable of doing this, right? Because this is something that was brought up, and I do wish to say that I don't make my pregnant women do it, and I always try to make it as attainable as possible. So if you're working with individuals, or is that what you're talking about?
Individuals, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
you're right.
I had a student that had spoke perfect English. However, his rhythm was fossilized to the point where he was using his first language rhythm to
Yeah. Well, here's what I would recommend. So this is somebody, I work with a number of people who are very fluent, but not so intelligible. They know what they're saying, but not most of us don't. Like ESL teachers, yeah, we can understand a lot of it, but like those folks out there, they're going like, huh? And we're going like, okay, let's do this phrase by phrase. All right, phrase by phrase. Let's take what you just said. We'll record. Okay, so we're doing a Zoom recording, or I'm doing an audio recording. I break it down and do it. Okay, so this is what you were trying to say. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over the rhythm pattern of this phrase, try practicing that, and then this phrase, and then that phrase. But now if you try to do it all at once, that's what they'll do. They'll try to rush through it, because some of my students have said, well, I figure if I do it faster, it'll be easier. And it's not easier, because they glom everything together and we can't hear where the important points are. So if we help them do it phrase by phrase in phrases that are meaningful, and then say, this is the important word, stress this one. This is the one you should focus on. Okay, so work on this one. And then the ones that are surrounding it, kind of work on those too. And then put it together. Now, yes, I do, with the really fossilized fluent speakers, I have to slow them down. One of the things to slow them down, the other thing is break them up. Break up their speech. I do a lot of recording, and I take their recording and I show them what it looks like, and they're going like, oh God, it looks like that? I'm like, yeah, look at the way I say it and the way you say it. Remember I showed you the two variety. Like in this particular presentation, I couldn't spend a lot of time on each one of those, but that's one of the things that I can do for students who don't perceive what they're doing, right? And so this helps them. Some of them do well by seeing those spectrograms, and other people, that's just something that's too weird for them, and that's not the important. You have to figure out what is it your student relates to, right? And if they relate to seeing that spectrogram because they're kind of scientific and they like that visual thing, but otherwise the physical thing is really, the embodied part of that is very, very powerful, and that has made an impact. So try that.
All right, great, thank you.
Sure. Other questions, other comments?
Just, and I got to see you do a presentation at the last CATESOL training. So
Oh, great. And I do have a number of resources for you, and I will send them out to all of our participants after this.
In your resources, does it also show your websites with your videos?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So, and in the meanwhile, if you go to YouTube and you look for Pronunciation Doctor, you'll find me, and there will be like 30 different playlists. One of them is called Pronunciation Workouts. Another is called Pronunciation for Teachers. And those might be ones that you could, that you would start with. And then there are ones based on my book, Phrase by Phrase, that are videos that I've done with students. So I'm actually teaching students, so it's targeted for the learner. So those are ones that you could start looking at. Yes, Ingrid?
This is part one, learning part one. So is there a learning part two?
Yes, yes. So next month, we're going to have our part two, and I've invited William or Bill Acton, who has done a lot of work on haptic learning. And he and I have done a number of presentations together because we're both into body work and pronunciation. So he's going to do a lot, and it's called something like haptic hacks and widgets. So mark your calendar for May 19th. And then in June, Patrick Mrozek is going to give a presentation on his project that he's doing with Community College in Portland. He'll tell us all about it in a couple months. Are you on our list? Are you in CATESOL as a member? Okay,
Yes.
so you'll certainly get all the information through that means.
Everyone, I just posted some links to our CATESOL Padlet and our Facebook group, and also the newsletter that you can sign up for, regardless of whether you're a member or not. So we'll be sending information about our upcoming webinars through that.
Great. So we'll be in touch. You'll be with us in the next coming months.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for all of your participation.
Thank you so much, Marcia.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Marcia.
All right. Thank you.